A white tiger guy is being hunted by bandits because he is a beastfallen. Humans who are born with animal features believed to be instruments of witches' sorcery. He is also being hunted by witches and is running away, till he bumps and spills the soup of a witch girl. She is making a big deal out of it. The attack continues. However, the witch easily dispatches the witch. The white tiger guy runs away faster upon realizing she is a witch. The white tiger guy is making a soup. Suddenly, the witch is already next to him and wants to return the soup he spilled. He isn't interested in talking to her until she mentions that she can see his human face beneath that beast facade. She briefly explains how the beastfallen were created by witches as armies. She could have answered more had her stomach not growled. She is looking for her comrade, named 13. He left on a journey to look for a book that was stolen. A book that could lead to the destruction of the world. It is the only book and has no copy. He left for so long that she had not heard from him, so she thought she better look for him too. She wants him to be his guard, but he quickly denies it because he hates witches. In fact, he hates humans too because of his looks. Every day has been hell for him. The witch offers to turn him into a human, and to prove her sincerity, she will draw up a contract. She will not kill him and will turn him into a human once his service ends. She is not afraid and describes his pleasant traits, something his mom used to tell him. He rips the contract and takes a blood oath like mercenaries do. The witch introduces herself as Zero. However, the witch doesn't want to know his name and only calls her manservants by name. She will call him Yohei. If her real name is found out, she will really make him her manservant. The next day they begin their journey to the royal capital, Plasta, where Zero believes 13 is looking for the book. Zero shows Yohei the difference between sorcery and magic against a boar in a forest, in which sorcery requires a magic circle while magic does not. She then busts a witch out of hiding who was on Yohei's tail last night. Albus is sent on killing Yohei to get stronger. However, Zero is stronger, as her magic easily cancels out his. She asks where he learned magic. The boy answered that it was from a group of sorcerers of Zero, whose holy book was the Grimoire of Zero. Zero is revealed to be the one who wrote the grimoire that the boy and his comrades used to learn magic. The sorcerers of Zero were formed to pursue peace for witches. As their influence grew, so did magic. They have withstood all resistance and witch hunts, even plunging the kingdom into civil war. Albus assumes Zero is on their side and has always thought a man wrote that book. He says the book is in their hideout, the Latet village on the road to Formica, and he will gladly bring them there. Zero can't tell him the book is stolen, as she won't know how badly he will react to it. As they take a break, Albus boasts about how Sorina's granddaughter joined the sorcerers of Zero. Albus finds a ring in the spring and wears it, but nothing happens. They reach a village and want to stay for the night. The villager assume they are mercenaries hunting witches. When a grandma is looking panicked after losing her ring, before Albus could explain, they think he is a thief. They will not hear any reason and start rounding them up. Because they badmouth Sorina, this makes Albus mad and rebuts their thoughts that Sorina was the one who spread the plague and instead saved the people. As Albus has already given away their identity, the villagers are going to get violent, so Yohei takes them and runs away. But the villagers won't stop. In an abandoned house, Zero believes that the probability of Sorina spreading plagues is extremely low. As a mooncaller witch, they trade their sorcery for food and clothing. It would be suicidal for such witches to destroy such a symbiotic relationship. As she was using sorcery during the height of the plague, perhaps that is where the misconception arises. Her actions led to anger like Albus's. If taking out an entire village just for revenge on a woman is justified, so is witch hunting. The villagers is now close. Instead of risking a fight, they run. Yohei doesn't want Zero to use the slightest of her magic because it would be even more troublesome if the church and knights got on their tail. The villagers know the woods well, so the trio are basically trapped. Surprisingly, Grandma guides them out. She found them using Yohei's fur. Zero knows that Grandma is a witch and has been hiding her powers. After Albus returns her ring, she mentions that this was from Sorina. As her own daughter went against her wishes and married a human, Sorina gave her the ring to do the same. She will have to live as a human and protect her husband, and if her friends are witch hunters, she must pretend not to know them. It is sad that Sorina was burned then, and even Yohei admits that Sorina was a good witch. Grandma notes they were about to make the same mistake they did with Sorina, and believes a day will come where humans and witches can live together in peace. The trio are now outside the walls of Formica. Yohei can get a pass since he is a mercenary undertaking a mission to hunt witches, and with that, they got into Formica. Before they go anywhere, Yohei wants Zero to get new clothes. She never thought of getting any since she isn't aware of human etiquette. At the clothes shop, Zero strips naked to try on outfits until Yohei has to throw her into the changing room for decency's sake. The shopkeeper is so happy that he wants her old clothes and smells them. Now that they are looking for a place to stay, it is either full or only serves humans. They can't blame humans for fearing beastfallens because sometimes they have this sudden impulse to eat humans. Like one happening right now. Yohei punches the bear dude away. The latter claims he doesn't have that impulse and was just trying to scare a slave wandering in here. The wolf guy then comes to claim his slave. He lets them know of a pricey place that accepts beastfallens before leaving. Late that night, Yohei sneaks out, but Zero knows about it and tails him. She gets angry and then even more when she gets drunk, blaming him for thinking he was going to enjoy the night without her. Wolf guy is also here. He smells Zero and wants to make a trade with Yohei. This witch for 3 of his witches. He claims he is hiding them from the church. Yohei doesn't accept since Zero is his employer. The wolf guy will be waiting if he changes his mind. Zero and Yohei can tell his slave girls aren't witches but just normal humans. Later, Yohei sneaks into his home to set them free but is caught red-handed. After all that talking, it is decided that they will duel, and the winner gets all the women. Since Zero agrees, as she believes Yohei will never lose, eventually, Yohei wins and sets the slaves free. Yohei wonders if normal humans are treated like witches, like those slaves. Zero says many humans have been burned at the stake during witch hunts. Only witches can tell witches apart. Zero helps Yohei wash his back outside. A few kids peep in, and Yohei roars to scare them off. It's his way to teach them not to get too close to the beastfallen, as lots of them were treated like monsters as kids and become those monsters when they grow up. Zero can see the soul inside him is still exceedingly human. In town, they see a couple kissing in public. Zero doesn't know what a kiss is, so Yohei blushingly explains it is a form of showing your love. As they leave Formica, they see one of those kids injured. Zero has Yohei treat her before they continue their journey to Letet. Yohei ignores Zero when she wants to try out kissing. When they fish, Albus' magic is weak, so Zero guides him by having him imagine the good food. His haul is now much better. Camping for the night, Albus asks about Yohei's hard life. In return, he reveals that his parents died a long time ago and that he was raised by his grandma. His mom was targeted by a witch hunt and killed, while his dad died trying to protect her. Albus doesn't hate witches, just the idea that all witches are evil. As for Zero, she is unsure if she has ever seen or spoken to her own parents. All she knows is that she has spent her life in this cave studying and experimenting with magic. The only unfortunate thing is that the food stinks. Zero offers to teach Yohei the basics of magic. That way, she has a reason to stay with him. But Yohei insists he won't learn magic. He has brute force and muscles. As they reached Letet, Yohei could smell something wrong. Looks like everyone in town is dead and some corpses are burned. The town isn't burned, although some bodies are. Zero mentions a fire spell that only burns its target. From the way the victim dies, she can tell what spell was used and if they are amateur or professional witches. As there are some dead witches among them, Albus knows that this is the doing of rogue witches. They used to be allies under the sorcerers of Zero, but once they learned magic, they turned evil. Suddenly, they are attacked by looters. Albus is mad and wants to kill them, although he can't bring himself to do it. Yohei interrogates one of them and learns there was one tall guy who came walking and killed other witches. He went towards the church. Inside, Albus shows the secret path to their hideout. The grimoire is gone. It could be stolen or taken away to the forbidden room. Searching there, Albus sees an old man barely alive. Before his last breath, he tells of a tall man passing by and disintegrating those who fought him. He believes that isn't magic. He hopes Albus can gather the scattered brethren, reform the sorcerers of Zero, and lead them. When they leave, Zero senses something strange. It's like the dead witches had their magic taken away from them. Albus knows only one man can do this. It is that tall guy, 13. The moment he says that, a forced summoning has them falling through an abyss. Yohei is seemingly falling endlessly as he hears Zero's voice. His body is already on the ground, but he needs to snap out of his mind. Zero guides him to return to consciousness. Zero mentions only 2 people she knows who can use this forced summoning, her master and 13. The latter is before them. He mentions this spell is cast for anyone who mentions his name in the church. Albus calls him the traitor to all witches, although he believes he only restored chaos. Flashbacks show the king and his men visiting massacred villages. The sorcerers of Zero popped up before them and wanted him to end the witch hunt or risk more victims, and the rogue witches will keep pillaging. The king has no choice but to fight fire with fire, and sends 13 to the fight. In exchange, the king will help him look for the grimoire. Instantly, 13's magic killed all the witches. Albus accuses 13 of being the king's underling, as he is helping in the witch hunt. Now 13 and Zero face off with their magic to see who is stronger. They're both pretty equal. Yohei and Albus need to do something instead of being useless. They don't want to end up getting burned in the crossfire. Suddenly, they both stopped when the bell rang. It's time for dinner. They can't fight on an empty stomach. After having dinner inside the royal castle of Plasta, they get to the topic at hand. Zero left the cave since it was taking him too long to find the grimoire. 13 became the sorcerer of state as the most effective means, though it hadn't yielded any effective results. Unfortunately, the person who stole it has spread its teachings and plunged the kingdom into chaos. When Albus argues about the sorcerers of Zero being right because they protect others, 13 counters that with another question. Who are they protecting? They kill others too, innocent ones sometimes. If they think they are the face of justice, this is the reason why there is war. The sorcerers of Zero are hypocrites since those evil ones are merely banished and left to their own devices. As explained, there are currently 3 factions of sorcerers: the sorcerers of Zero, who want to protect witches and coexist with humans, rogue witches, who want to do evil things, and the sorcerers of the state, who hunt down both groups. 13 is in this group. 13 sees Albus as having dangerous potential. He wants him to join him and has promised knowledge and power. Otherwise, he will be burned at the stake. Albus then learns the truth, that the grimoire was stolen some time ago. Zero admits that she was robbed by Albus' master. He killed all the students in the cave. Only Zero and 13 were the survivors. When Albus remembers his assumption that Zero was his ally, the only thing left for him to do is cry. Yohei asks why Zero wrote something so dangerous in the first place. It's for convenience. Ever wanted to light a fire without a flint or catch fish without a net? She thought everyone would be happy with such magic. Long ago, she wanted to go outside but was told it was a terrible world for witches. So she started writing about new powers that could be wielded by anyone, and the world would want and accept witches. She regrets doing so and should have heeded 13's warning to burn it right away. Zero will not return to the cave as instructed. Since this is her grimoire, it is her sin and responsibility to bear. Yohei rests in his room when a mouse familiar wants him to follow him to someone. It is to 13's room. 13 wants to thank him for taking care of Zero and gives him a magic potion from an application of Zero's method. It nullifies magic, which means if he pours it on himself, he will become human again. By doing this, Yohei doesn't need a reason to protect Zero anymore. This is 13's way of telling him to run because he doesn't know how scary Zero is. Despite Zero not being interested in his head, has he ever thought about how Zero offered sacrifices for her summoning? All sorcerers consider others besides themselves as tools to be used. Yohei is like a rare, special animal, that's why she treats him differently. So once he outlives his usefulness, he's gone. It is evident that he is under her control because during their magic bout, Yohei protected her instead of following his beast instincts to flee. Yohei denies all this, but 13 thanks him for bringing her this far and cannot help him anymore. He tells him to choose the right time and place to use the potion since they are at war. He will once he is home. As Yohei packs his things to leave, Zero is outside his door, inviting him to some celebration, but he gets suspicious of her and draws his sword. Zero immediately knew 13 had done something to him. Her scream has brought Yohei to his senses. She is disappointed that he had doubts about her, which is why he was easily manipulated by 13. She laments that he didn't trust her when they made that blood oath. That's it. Get out of here. The contract is over. They have nothing to do with each other. Zero moans that she shouldn't have hired him. Yohei wanders around town beating up beastfallen who misbehave. A tavern girl enlists his help in exchange for his staying at her place. Yohei cooks well. As he explains, he plans to open a tavern once he turns back into a human. The girl believes in those dreams and hopes he could use a beautiful tavern girl like her. Later that night, as several drunk beastfallen patronize the tavern and cause a ruckus, her father is distraught, although she believes Yohei can deal with them. Father didn't like how she allowed Yohei to use their utensil, but she reminded him about leaving a starving beast alone with her, remembering how his mom was devoured by a beastfallen. Yohei heard it all and went out to beat the crap out of them, paid for their portion, and then left. Meanwhile, Zero confronts 13, and she is mad that he influenced Yohei to leave her side. She is going to teach him a lesson, and then leave this place. Yohei is resting in the woods when that wolf guy comes looking for revenge. But he is not going to fight him and has employed witches to go after his head. Unfortunately, the witches betrayed the wolf guy and attacked him. Yohei supposedly took a direct hit from an attack. However, nothing happened to him. In fact, Zero somehow experiences that blow and collapses before her duel with 13 even begins. 13 takes her to bed and comments that she should never have left the cave. Yohei notices a fearful witch fleeing. He tries to interrogate her, but when she calls him a monster, he starts to feel that beast's urge to eat her. But Zero's words that his soul is human made him come to his senses. The wolf guy pleads to save him, but Yohei doesn't give a damn. However, wolf guy says he can't die here because Sorna asked him to protect her granddaughter. Yohei wants to know if she has the grimoire of Zero. but the wolf guy is sure the Sorna granddaughter has it. As Yohei patches up Holden the wolf guy's name, the latter explains he was born of a human and a noble. He was caught sleeping with somebody's wife, so he fled for his life. In the forest, he met Sorna. Because she fed him, he wanted to serve her. Sorna didn't want a manservant, so Holden suggested turning him into a beast. She wanted to leave him be, but her granddaughter took a liking to him. Shortly, Sorna turned him into a beast. His reasoning was that all those who were after him would stop looking for him. Yohei asked what about witches? If you noticed, all those targeting beastfallen are low rate. The only people buying their heads are the wives of nobles obsessed with demonic rituals. Which means Zero was never interested in Yohei's head in the first place. Holden came to live an easy life taking care of Sorna's granddaughter. But after the plague hit, they wanted to pay for the witch's blood. Holden is ready to die and kill them to protect her, but she doesn't want him to sully her name. Instead, take her granddaughter and run, as she will be willingly caught by them. Sorna's daughter swore revenge and went her own way. Holden was fooling around and recently was gathering information about Sorna's granddaughter, and that she might have joined the sorcerers of Zero. Holden believes that Guy betrayed Sorna and burned her at the stake. He has no proof, but believes he was the one behind the plague to purposely create a misunderstanding with the villagers. As the duo leaves, they see commotion caused by people trying to head into Plasta. There is going to be a witch-burning ceremony today. They rush back, and Yohei couldn't believe that 13 was going to burn Albus at the stake after being rejected numerous times. However, Holden recognizes Albus as Sorna's granddaughter. Yohei knows 13 is a manipulative guy since he is giving a sermon to the crowd about how evil witches are. After he is done, Albus makes a speech for all the witches to strike 13 dead after her death. The burning begins. Holden can't wait any longer and rushes to save her. At the same time, Yohei distracts the crowd with his random bombings. With the chaos, Holden rescues Albus from the stake while 13 tries to rein Yohei in. However, 13 tries to stop the guards from attacking Yohei because any attack directly at him will be diverted to Zero. This gives enough time for Yohei to escape via carriage with Holden. A short chase from the guards ensued, but ultimately the horses wouldn't listen as they plunged down the ravine. 13 feels the need to capture them quickly but alive. He wants the assassins sent. While camping, Albus says she does not have the grimoire with her and one of the sorcerers of Zero must have taken it. The reason she was against joining 13 was because of his cruel methods of killing all rogue witches and sorcerers of Zero. Yohei agrees with 13's ways because normal people can't tell the difference anyway. Albus is sure she can convince the sorcerers of Zero to take out the rogue witches and that guy who stole the grimoire. When Holden says Albus cannot take that guy out, they explain that all sorcerers of Zero made a blood contract before joining. This means they cannot kill him, and if they do, they die. When Yohei blames Zero for coming up with magic and says that without it, this whole mess wouldn't be there in the first place, Albus hits on an idea. Since Zero can nullify magic, what if they make a huge circle covering the entire kingdom? If Zero denies that circle, magic should disappear. Then they could start again with spreading magic correctly. It is a great idea, but they need Zero, about whom Albus has no idea where she is being held. They need some sort of her belonging if they are to trace her. Her old clothes at Formica. But first they have to escape those pesky assassins, which they successfully do by giving them the slip. Yohei manages to get past the gate since he fakes his appetite for humans at this hour. They see the creepy shopkeeper worshipping Zero's old clothes. Now Albus uses her magic to locate Zero in the top tower of Plasta's royal palace. So while Yohei hurries his way there to rescue her, Albus and Holden also make haste to draw magic circles around the kingdom. After drawing a couple of them, they are approached by members of the sorcerers of Zero. It seems that Guy guided them here, and they are looking forward to Albus' leadership for a rebellion. But when Albus hears about her goal to seal magic, they consider her a traitor and will bring her to trial. Holden tells her to surrender because they can draw the circles anytime, but it won't do any good if she's dead. Albus and Holden become their prisoners. Once Yohei breaks into the top tower, Zero doesn't want to be saved. He left her plus, does he not realize this is one of 13's traps? Zero starts crying as she tells him about her feelings when he left her. The feelings she felt when 13 took him away from her. She knew he hated witches, so she let him go. Zero is asking why did he come back? What does he want? And she will give anything. Just don't leave her again. When Yohei tries to tell Albus' plan, they are summoned. Meanwhile, Albus tries to tell his story, but nobody believes her. At this point, the sorcerers of Zero have received instructions from that guy to strike down 13. Holden is taken to be killed, but the old man frees him. Despite having different approaches to ending the war, their end goal is the same. They should do what is right. Yohei wakes up in the dungeons. Zero is imprisoned before his eyes, and 13 stands before him. Yohei tries to tell of their plans to nullify magic in the kingdom. With 13 rejecting it, Zero reveals the truth. 13's plans aren't to get the grimoire or end the war. Those are just stepping stones for his ultimate goal. Yohei is shocked to see 13 in possession of the grimoire of Zero. It was never stolen in the first place. To erase the fear of witches from the people's hearts, 13 must create evil witches, put them on display, and then eradicate them. While spreading the grimoire, he became sorcerer of the state to oppose witches. Therefore, 13 and that guy are the same person. 13 corrects them. He admits he did set the stage, but all those wrongdoings were the witches' decisions and actions alone. He did not incite the sorcerers of Zero to act. He just spread the framework, but they decided to use it for evil to exact revenge on Sorina. Because of that, he had to play the righteous sorcerer of state as the people wished. He wished Zero had never left that cave while he was creating a new kingdom for her, where magic is a noble art. When 13 told her magic would destroy the world, but she insisted on creating that dream, that's why he took it upon himself to create that dream for her. So when the sorcerers of Zero strike him down, they'll be killing themselves too since he is that guy. Zero is not pleased, and 13 plans to kill all witches in her name. As for the plague, 13 didn't start it. It was Sorina's experiment to save people gone wrong. As for killing his comrades in the caves, he sees them as mindless except for Zero. He was the one who suggested taking Zero out, but they were afraid of her and were intent on leaving her alone forever. Yohei is upset that he never gave her a choice. He made her lonely. 13 thinks he knows Zero better than Yohei, who only spent a few days with her. 13 tries to petrify Yohei as he throws the potion at him. He dodges, and it explodes upon contact with Zero's cell. Now that she is free, she challenges 13 to a magic duel. She is going to remind him of the difference in their numerical naming. Albus once again tries to have the sorcerers of Zero listen to her. However, she is asked about her whereabouts during Latette's attack. 0 and 13 begin their epic chanting. It seems 0 is stronger, and her magic is about to kill 13. Yohei tries to stop her, but since she isn't listening, he protects 13. Unaware that he still has that protective magic on him, 0 takes the full brunt of her own magic due to the blood oath that she secretly implemented during his bath. 13 explains it to him as he reminisces about the old days in the cave, where he was entrusted to take care of 0, who was very curious about the outside sky. Suddenly, 0 wakes up. She explains that she didn't go all out with her magic and thus only lightly damaged her skin. The trick was not to see who was the strongest, but who created the craft in the first place. 0 had purposely written errors in the grimoire of 0 as a way to defend herself, so nobody can beat her in terms of using her magic. 0 will continue her mission to seal the magic of Weenias. 13's initial goal was to take over the kingdom for herself, but that's not what 0 wanted. In that case, 13 no longer has any interest in it and will follow 0. Holden fakes that the knights are coming when he is the only one sneaking into the camp to rescue Albus. They make a run for it, but some of the sorcerers of 0 are hot on their tail. 13 displays a special necklace he gave to every member of the sorcerers of 0 so he can monitor their movement. 0's mission now is to rescue and reunite with Sorina's granddaughter, just in time to save Albus from being zapped by those sorcerers. Albus and Holden are confused with 13 on their side, so they explain. However, Holden is still mad and punches him. In any case, 13 is not responsible for that plague since it was an amateur's witch experiment gone wrong. Still, he is indirectly responsible for Sorina's death. All he could say is sorry, and sometimes he has regrets about whether he could have saved her. Albus is angry and wants to kill 13, but she can't kill him because of the contract binding him. But 13 performed a service, which voids that contract. Now she can kill him, and he will not refuse death. However, 13 wants a chance to make things right. 13 theorizes that Sorina's sacrifice started a war of witches against humans. Now Yohei's group splits up, drawing one of 5 magic circles at a designated point and meeting up in the center. While 0 and 13 perform the ritual, Yohei and Holden is going to protect them from the sorcerers. As Albus arrives to help with the final part of the ritual, Yohei's body is used as a vessel to seal the magic in the kingdom of Weenias, ending the war. 3 days later, Yohei wakes up and is still a beastfallen because 0's magic has weakened. 0 finally has her grimoire back from 13. Albus, now the official state sorcerer, has 13 burned at the stake in the palace square in order to unite humanity, but the stake is set up so that 13 can secretly escape while the flames obscure the vision of the crowd. Before 0 and the Yohei depart, Albus kisses Yohei on the cheek, much to Holden's chagrin. 0 not only reveals that 13 is her older brother, but also considers about having a romantic relationship with Yohei. However, Yohei insists that he is only there for her protection. Thank you for watching till the end, and please don't forget to subscribe.